Well, that's the governor of Central Bank, there, Godwin Mefele, at the MPC meeting there, leaving all rates unchanged for the outcome. To bring us up to speed now and dive into this result, we have Paul Alaje now, a senior economist at SPM. Great to have you on the program. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so you heard the Central Bank governor there. It's a hold again. Analysts expected this, but for you, how did you see this outcome? You know, it looks like it's become some kind of ritual now.
Well, for me, I think the best decision was taken yesterday by the Monetary Policy Committee. The decision, of course, was mentioned to us by the Central Bank governor. It's so important for the Monetary Policy Committee to sit on the fence because, like the governor mentioned, the decision to keep CRR monetary policy rates as well as liquidity ratio at the rate they are currently at is so very significant because when you look at the growth that we have to about 4.03%, it looks high, even though it's a bit slower than 5% we had in the previous quarter of Q2 2021, now Q3 2021 at 4.03%. This is high, but when you compare it with the base year, when you put in picture the base year in consideration, where Nigeria was declared to be in a recession in the third quarter of 2020, you know that it will not be sufficient reason for Monetary Policy Committee to change rate. For me, I think we need to wait till the first quarter of 2022 before such rate could be changed. And of course, this is the last MPC for the year. We need to wait till next year and see when Nigeria got out of recession in the fourth quarter and became a bit balanced in the second quarter. At that time, whatever the rate is, if we are still growing after we have seen the first quarter report of 2022, then we can know whether it will be a good time for us to vary rate or to keep rate constant. Another thing you might want to look at, which is one of the core mandates of Monetary Policy Committee, is what is happening to pricing. When you look at inflation at 15.99% is still quite high, even though it has started to increase at a reduced rate at about 16% or 15.99%. Monetary Authority's mandate or target is between 6 to 9%, which is a single-digit inflationary rate. What we had is still very high, so it's important for us to continue to wait or to see a little longer what the impact of the current monetary policy rate, among other rates, will give us in coming period.
Is that why we can't feel the reducing prices in the market right now?
Yes, I understand that we are not seeing the reducing pricing. Official inflationary rate, it's 15.99. And when we look at what government compared, National Bureau of Statistics has reported the 2020 price in October, when it's related to this year. That is what was reported. And when you look at a basket of commodity, we are not saying inflation has reduced, and that is why it's important for people to understand when we say inflation is, as you know, the report has been reduced from 16% to 15%, as the case may be. But the real sense is actually increased by 15.99%. But this rate of increase is lower than what it was before. But what other things people need to quickly check, it is what is month on month, what is quarter on quarter. When you compare those quarterly and monthly changes, then you can see that inflation is actually increasing. But when we are comparing it to last year, which is why we have 15.99%, again, you might also be seeing that some prices are increasing. I am of the opinion that the National Bureau of Statistics needs to reconsider some of the commodities they have in the basket of the CPI, that's Consumer Price Index, so that it can reflect the consumption of people today. It is very tough for us to convince people that inflation is reducing. Meanwhile, when you go to the market, the prices seems to be increasing from what etiquette was at this time last year till now, for what quite a number of other things. You know, you can talk about sardine, you can talk about even common goods, bag of rice, what was it before, what is it now. Quite a number of other commodities have continued to increase. I think conversation should be around why is it that upon all combination of factors, review of rate, interest rate is quite low now. You remember that it was around 14%. Now it's about 11.5%. Why are we still having high inflation? What are the factors responsible, and what do we think authority can do to reduce this growing inflation in Nigeria, even though it has continued to increase at a reducing rate now, which is better, but we still we have a longer way to go so that we can have it checked within the single digit that is the target of central bank.
All right, what's your view on the quantity of money circulating in the economy right now?
Okay, so the quantity of money circulating, even though we say that we have we have excess supply of money, and that's one of the reasons that can fuel inflation. For me, I really don't think so. I think quite a number of other things are fueling inflation. One of the things, when you read the report of National Bureau of Statistics, is food inflation. And what is the real cause of food inflation? 3 factors. Number one, you want to talk about insecurity, because quite a number of farmers who are supposed to be on farm are finding it challenging. Before now, Southeast region was not part of security concern. Today, it's huge security concern. Wait till Monday and ask people to go to farm or go to the market, and they tell you that they want to honor sit-at-home order. Southeast is not alone. You check Northeast, some states are still being ravaged by Boko Haram, banditry, and so on and so forth. Southwest, that we knew for, Northwest, that we knew for a region of peace, is also battling its own share of insecurity. South-South, Southeast, Southwest, and North Central, as close as it is to Abuja, Niger, Benue, Nasarawa, quite a number of states are having their concern in the remote areas where you have the farm. So concerns are there regarding security, and most of the people that stay in the rural community are farmers, so they are directly affected. That on one hand. On the other hand, we also have logistics. Just yesterday we saw what was making round on social media regarding traveling between Abuja and Kaduna Expressway and security concern. Imagine those that want to move their goods from the remote part of Kaduna to Abuja. What happened to such commodity? Kogi State, National Bureau of Statistics report, continue to top the chart for high inflation. So what exactly is going on in Kogi State? Is it logistics? What are the concerns that are around these increased prices? For me, logistics play a major role. And recently, government is saying it wants to remove subsidy and perhaps replace this subsidy with 5,000 naira between 30 to 40 million Nigerians. And that when they do this, then we're going to remove subsidy. Allegedly, prices of petrol may go to as high as 200 or 300, or as the case may be. I wonder how that will happen, because authorities upon authorities have tried to remove subsidy from Nigeria. People have said, oh, we need to have strong body language. We need to just do it. My concern is that a government that will do that must first, as a matter of urgency, put palliative, which will be evident in infrastructure, number one, which will also be evident in reducing the burden. And this burden is not 5,000. Subsidy is not evidence of 5,000 throughout a month. Civil servant goes to work, they want to go back home, and prices of transport will, of course, significantly increase. So what are the other alternatives we are giving people? Maybe buses, and so on and so forth, so that the impact of reduction, of removal, will be so minimal. That on another side. Again, why do we continue to have that? Anytime there is exchange rate, and Naira reduces in terms of value to the dollar, it has impact on everybody. It is because the more we import, when we have high import and we are not exporting enough, you can see the trade report shared by Central Bank recently. It revealed, and also the report shared by National Bureau of Statistics, by the way, it revealed that we are importing more than what we are exporting. And when we are importing, we are using the dollar. That means we are laying more demand on our foreign reserve, and it continues to make the value of our local currency, because central bank is not having sufficient to intervene in the market. Recall that even though we have significant reduction, I think earlier this week or late last week in the parallel market, the price have also started to go back high, which is huge concern to all of us. So for me, we need to do something about exchange rates, and people have said, oh, maybe we should just converge and devalue Naira and become 500 Naira to $1 officially, and maybe we should make it what parallel market is. And I've made my position known. Anybody that says we should devalue like that, I don't think such person mean well for Nigeria. We have been devaluing since 1983. Till date, what has actually changed? upon the policy shared with us by IMF, structural adjustment program policy, quite a number of other policies that Nigeria has adopted. Has it made our economy to improve? Has it made us to develop? What exactly have we changed? And we can say reducing exchange rate has helped us. I am not saying we must defend Naira by force. I am saying we need to empower Naira through our industry. We need to empower Naira through high production. And these are responsibilities that both the private sector and government, public sector must put in place so that we can export. Our export is low, and at best what we're exporting is crude oil. And to just talk a bit about the proposal, maybe we should remove subsidy, which I think I support, but I don't support it if the impact will be much, which obviously will be, because we are not seeing under infrastructure in place for government to reduce the impact on the people. And exactly why do we need to devalue? Exactly why do we need to remove subsidy, and why will the impact be much? For me, I am of the opinion that if we don't have alternative to production locally, that is refining oil locally, saying that we should remove subsidy is to take the whole burden and put on the people, the rich, the poor, and the deprived. So if we say we want to remove subsidy, well, of course, which impact will be on the people? Before we do that, we need to make sure that oil that we produce locally are refined locally. So that when you say forces of demand and supply should adjudicate price, there is truly a supply side. As we speak today, the supply is coming from outside Nigeria. And whatever happens to exchange rate, eventually we go to the people. So what happens if global oil prices go to $100 per barrel? What if it goes to $150 per barrel? How will our people be able to afford it? The same argument with electricity. You have seen what happened to gas. You know, 3 months ago, what was the price of 12.5 kg? Or 6 months ago, what was the price? What is the price today? So an economy where the real income continues to emaciate because of double inflation figure on one hand, and we want to now make the people to compete globally. Meanwhile, the economy we live in, the fundamentals and the foundation remains very weak. When you say we should also remove, we should allow forces of demand and supply to adjudicate for power. The question is, what are the alternatives? In Abuja, if I don't want to use AEDC, which other option do I have? That's monopolistic. In Lagos, if I live in Ikeja, I don't want to use Eco electricity. I don't want to use Ikeja electric. Which other option do I have? So there are no options for people in the real sense of it. So when we say that we have just one option, and we also have to accept the price, then I'm wondering if truly we are talking about economics.
Right, quite incredible. There are no options, basically. Another issue now, see, the U.S. Federal Reserve has announced its decision to begin reducing the monthly pace of its, net asset purchases by $15 billion later this month, and another $30 billion beginning in December. What would be the impact of this decision on foreign inflows into Nigeria?
The impact of foreign inflow into Nigeria as the result, as an implication of U.S. decision, it might act adversely. It might be inverse in terms of implication to us. So for me, I think Nigeria, we need to get to a point where we can attract foreign investor irrespective of what happened or whatever will happen in another environment. And I hope that we will get to that point very soon.
All right, and what are the, likely actions, from the Fiscal Authority that, should actually help the efforts of the monetary policy? Just briefly.
For me, Fiscal Authority, that's talking about government income and expenditure. We need to spend more on capital to attract investment. What we are not having sufficiently enough today is inflow into Nigeria. And at best, those that want to invest in Nigeria, that we are not even having sufficient of, they are portfolio investors. We need to have people who want to reinvest in the real economy, and policies that will come from Fiscal Authority, and more importantly, Trade Authority, must be to attract foreign investors into Nigeria. And this will come when our policies are transformational in nature. It will come when our policies are supporting investment environment in nature. If we don't have that, I'm sorry, monetary policy makers will continue. We have seen interventions. Central bank, more or less, is now an interventionist bank. intervening in most of the critical sector of the economy, without which maybe we will not even have this positive growth we are having right now. So central bank will continue to intervene. Monetary Policy Committee will try to make a number of policy. But when the other legs, namely Fiscal and Trade Authority, are not doing their part, I am sorry, the impact may not come. And when we talk about convergence of policy, we are not saying that the Minister of Finance and Central Bank Governor are not meeting. That's not what we are referring to. We are saying the results of their policy must converge. It must be such that they want to achieve similar results, and it will lead to prosperity among Nigerians.
All right, Mr. Alaje, well said there. I will have to leave it there now, Mr. Paul Alaje, Senior Economist at SPM. Thank you for coming on Business Morning today.
Thank you so very much for having me.
All right, after the break, AFEX Commodities Market Update is next. Do stay with us.